Hello, class. My name is Rupert Medford, and I want to talk to you briefly about the missionary Samuel Lyde. There's not a lot that is known about his early life, except that he was born in 1825 in England, presumably to parents that were members of the Anglican Church. He himself would go on to enroll at the Jesus College at Cambridge University, and he would obtain a degree from there, go on to get his master's, become an ordained member of the clergy, and actually be employed by the Jesus College. He was not a healthy man. We don't know what his particular ailment was, but because of his sickness, Samuel Lyde would take these wintertime tours, I presume, to more arid regions that were considered better for his health. And he would go through Egypt and Syria. And on one of these trips, he decided to stay for health purposes. The consulate there recommended, knowing that he was a member of the clergy, that he undertake missionary activities amongst a people group known as the Alawites or the Nusaires. And so his missionary call came from circumstance. Doesn't mean it wasn't valid. That's just how it came about. Nevertheless, controversy would be a big part of Samuel Lyde's life. In fact, on one of his trips to Palestine, a beggar reportedly tried to steal his coat, and he shot and killed him. And even in countries where stealing is illegal, killing a beggar was a greater crime. It sparked outrage amongst the people there, anti-Christian riots, houses were burned, people were killed. Eventually, Lyde would stand trial for the murder of this man, but he would ultimately be acquitted. And another controversy that would arise a little bit later would be that he would fall into what is called a deranged state, some sort of mental lapse. He would claim during this time to be John the Baptist or Jesus Christ himself. Doesn't make it excusable, but when you read what he studied and the people that he studied, it would become at least a little bit understandable. Nevertheless, he would recover from this state, whether that was associated with his health problems or if it was separate from that. And it was after that he would go on to write his book about the Nusaires and their religious practices, as well as another work. The people group that Samuel Lyde studied is probably the most fascinating thing about him, even more so than his controversial life. And these Nusaires, he describes them as a heretical branch that sprang from the bosom of Islam. So just as in Christianity there are heretical sects such as Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, they come out of Christianity, but they either add something to or take away from Christianity in ways that we would consider heterodox. The same is true of the Muslim faith. The Nusaires in particular are a secret religion. Only men are entrusted with the information. It has degrees like Freemasonry does. In fact, many times Lyde compares them to the Freemasons in a very negative way. He says that just as Masons hide their Masonic belief from the uninitiated, the Nusairi also conceal the information about their own beliefs. It is their principle to adhere to no certain religion, but very chameleon-like, to put on the color of religion, whatever it may be, which is reflected upon them from the persons in whom they happen to converse. So with Christians, they behave as Christians and profess to be Christians. With Muslims, they pretend to be Muslims, but kind of behind the scenes, they're more Muslim than anything, but they have taken on, added to their own little belief system to it. Now, Mr. Lyde doesn't have very complimentary things to say about them as a people group. In fact, much to the contrary, refers to them as being terribly lost and in great need. And I don't know that he had a whole lot of success on an individual level with them, but his works as not just a missionary, but as a sociologist, no doubt, laid a great foundation and a great groundwork for all of those, not only that would be missionaries to them, but I would say to any Muslim people. So anyway, Samuel Lyde, very interesting guy, and I hope you learned a little something.